you guys doing in my head? Get out of here. So then I got to search for some Kirtaneshwar or somebody to replace it, get that back. So that's what we need to do. We need to work on maintaining this Krishna conscious Maha Mantra within our minds as much as we can. So we're going to talk about things we share. So
okay.
Oh, thank you. Things that we share. We share not being prepared. No, that's me. No. Okay. We like to share, don't we? Who here likes to share? Huh? Yeah. Well, we don't share everything now, do we? Not intentionally. Some things we share unintentionally. We don't really mean to, but we share it. Meaning that we give it to other people, whether we actually meant to or not. Like if you're in a bad mood, you may not want to put everybody in you around you in a bad mood, but we share that because it's kind of hard to not. So let's talk about things that we share. We share the resources of this material world. We're all kind of caught here together. We have limited resources, and we share them, don't we? Although we're not always nice about how we share. We're not always fair, but we do. We have to share the resources of the material world. We share our feelings and our emotions. Indifference, hate, love, we share these feelings. Sometimes even if we don't mean to, if we don't plan to, but we do share these things. We share our doubts and our convictions. If I don't have faith in something, I'm probably going to want to tell you. And if I really have, I'm convinced that something is really great, I may want to tell more people. So we share that. We share our happiness and our distress. We share our success and our failures. Where's he going with this? You're wondering that. We share our speculations and our ignorance, as well as our knowledge. But we do. We share our speculations, don't we? We may not be convinced, but boy, out of our mouth it comes, and we speak it almost always like it's fact. Like, well, you can take this to the bank. Where'd you get that? No, I just. So we share our speculations. Sometimes we speak on things that we don't know enough about to be qualified to speak, but we do it anyway. I'm ignorant. Let me share my ignorance with you. And we share our knowledge. Typically, when somebody learns something, we all kind of go to the same school sometimes, and that's the school of hard knocks. And a lot of times when we learn something, we get knowledge, we share it, we do. So we share the struggle for existence with those around us. This material world is a place of struggle, suffering, and we share this with everyone else. Why do we share it? Because we're all caught in the same situation together. So these are all things that we share. We all have an equal stock in this place. We all have a truly good reason why we would want to leave here, because we're caught on this merry-go-round. What's he talking about? Merry-go-round. What does he mean? So we share the continuous cycle of birth, disease, old age, and death. We share this. Is anybody here able to escape those four? Show me it. I don't think so. No, we have to. We're here together, caught in this prison-like material world. And we're pushed to take repeated birth. At least there's another birth after death, right? But then it's followed by death. And in between, there's disease and old age. Old age isn't so bad, is it? I'm not going to ask you because you don't know. You'll never age. No, it's terrible. I'm telling you. Don't do it. Turn back if you can. Turn around, go back. It's rotten. But we'll do it, and we have done it again and again and again. Take birth, suffer some disease, get old, if we live long enough to get old, and then ultimately die, and then wash, rinse, repeat. Just do it again and again and again. We share this predicament. Now, how do we get out of this? So let me read a couple of verses, 3 verses about our current situation. This is not my concept. These are the words of Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, verses 7 through 9. Krishna tells you just exactly what the score is right now, where you are and what's going on around you, and who you are, what you are. These are very important verses. Text 7. Krishna says the living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the 6 senses, which include the mind. So, a very famous verse. Krishna's first of all telling you, if you can read and understand his intention here, first and foremost, you are eternally my fragmental part. All right, that's really good news. This is the best news you've had all day. You are eternally a part of the Supreme. You're the same DNA. You're the same stuff. You're not him, but you're eternally a fragmental part. That word fragmental means that you're not ever going to jump into him and become him or merge with him. That's not going to happen. Krishna says that you are eternally his fragmental part. That means that you are like a child, like an offspring. You're his very kin. You see? Text 8, the living entity in the material world carries his different concepts of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. Like the air carries an aroma, if the air blows through a flower-laden tree in the forest, picks up the aroma, you, the soul, the living entity, travel like the aroma would on air. You see? So you're traveling. You're on a journey, much bigger journey than you think. It's not just this life, but it's again and again. You carry your concept of who and what you are, birth after birth after birth. Just like the air carries an aroma. Text 9, the living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. So you're going to take another body, unless you do something to stop this cycle that you're caught in. You're going to take another body. You're going to take another birth. And according to your desires in this lifetime, you're going to get a body with a certain particular eye and nose, ear, taste. So you don't know what that will be. You might be a dog. or a hog. You might be a human being again. But whatever species you take, you'll be issued the equipment that that body needs, which is a certain particular set of senses and a particular set of sense objects. So if you're in the body of a hog, hogs are known in many places to eat stool. They eat droppings, yucky stuff. That's very common. We've seen that. Those of us who have gone to Vrindavan have seen that. And so the stool it appeals to the hog. He's got a set of senses that makes that appeal. So you may be thinking, some of you may think, very few I hope might think, yeah, but if I'm a hog and I like stool and I get stool, what's the harm? Do we want to go through that again? We've all been through all 8,400,000 species of life again and again and again and again. You see, do we want to do this again? I'm getting tired, I travel a lot. Traveling can make you tired. So I'm getting tired of this continual cycle of birth, disease, old age, and death. So that's our solution. Krishna says, all right, this is my diagnosis. This is your problem. You're going from body to body to body, trying to enjoy this species, that species, and you're enjoying a particular type or set of sense objects that are handed to you with that body. This is not a good deal. How do you win at this? Well, you get some enjoyment along the way, right? Really? How much enjoyment have we had so far in this material world? Well, there's been some, but man, balance that with the suffering, heartaches, things like that. It's not a good deal. So Krishna is offering you a good deal. He's offering you something that you can and should share with everyone. It's the ticket out. How do you get off of this? Very simple. And we're going to jump ahead to the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Speaking of the Bhagavad Gita, how many people are new here? Any new? Anybody here first time? Hands up real high. Wow. Okay. This young man right here, there's I don't know, a bunch. Hands up, he's going to give you a free Bhagavad Gita. Double your money back if you don't like it. So hands up and show him. We want all of you to walk out so that you can check up on this and see what does God have to say. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, verse 65 and 66, he gives you the solution to this cyclic thing, birth, disease, old age, death, again, wash, rinse, repeat. Krishna says, this is simple. It may sound complicated, but it's actually very simple. Krishna says, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your homage to me. Thus, you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Wow. God doesn't have to speak to you like that. He doesn't have to open his heart up and tell you, hey, you're my dear friend. I'm really looking. He could just say, you do what I say, or I will punish you, right? He could do that. But he approaches with love. My dear friend, just become my devotee. Of course, now here's what he's being honest, straightforward, as he usually is. He wants you to always think of him. Well, that's tough, isn't it? We don't always want to think of God, do we? Many times we think of God as kind of a buzzkill. We're like having fun, then someone mentions God and all the fun stuff. That was pretty darn good, wasn't it? Huh? So the party started when we started to chant Hare Krishna. The enjoyment begins when we get into thoughts, the real thoughts of the personality of Godhead, you see, and his true personality. You see, he's reaching out to you. Always think of me. Become my devotee. This is really good advice here. Worship me and offer your homage to me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. This thing is just eternal. I find myself follow it to the floor, you know. It's never going to change, though. Next verse, Krishna says, gives you further instructions. He says, abandon all forms of religion. Abandon all varieties and forms of religion. Just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Wait a minute. What kind of a God tells you to jump off the religion train? Aren't we supposed to stay on that? I mean, what do we expect from religion anyway? What's religion supposed to do? Is it supposed to just give you something to do? Or think of religion as perhaps a vehicle that's supposed to take you somewhere. You ever thought of that? It's supposed to do something for you. There should be some return. So what is that return to religious practice? What is in it for you? Just something to do that shows you're a good person? No, religion should give you love of God. You've got this magnificent, all beautiful personality of Godhead. Shouldn't religion take you to that personality? I mean, if it doesn't, you might want to get a different vehicle. You might want to find something else and call that religion. Product of religion is love of Godhead. Along with love of Godhead comes love of all living entities. True love, real eternal love that we share with all living entities. Not just the human beings, not just those that vote for the same guy that you vote for. We're talking all living entities. You see, this is the prize for real religion. You get love of Godhead and love of everyone. So Krishna says, just surrender to me, I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. I'll do it myself. You can say, no, I'd rather do the process. Krishna says, I'll deliver you. You just surrender to me, become my loving devotee. I'll take care of everything. Do not fear. Don't worry. He's pouring his heart out. He's making promises, guarantees. Coming from God, a promise is pretty valuable, isn't it? Coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when Krishna promises to deliver you, then you can take that to the bank, right? Now, there's so many other promises, especially in an election year. We're going to get all kinds of promises thrown at us, aren't we? You see, we're used to that. We're used to people making promises and promises not coming through. Krishna doesn't operate like that. He doesn't have to. He's just appealing to you. Share me. Come to me and share me with the world. Come into real knowledge and share that with everyone. That's not so hard, is it? So I'm going to slow down, tap the brakes for a minute. Are there any questions or comments? There's one.
Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's a mouthful. Will you unpack that phrase? I never heard that before.
Yeah, good question. Supreme personality of Godhead. Oh. So Godhead is another name for the modern day, I guess the hip thing now is source, isn't it? Ah, you're not hip. You're one of us older folks. We've lived through that hip thing. We're not hip. So, but yeah, you ever heard anybody refer to God as the source? Some are even real hip. They just call him source. Me and source. Yeah, we got it going on here. So, I mean, what is the source? What does that mean? Well, the source is that from which everything emanates. Everything cometh from the source. So, let's say that that's Godhead, that source of all sources. So, I have a personality, you have a personality, we all have personalities. So, personality exists, so it must come from source, yeah? I mean, is this logical? There's the source of all sources, there is personality, so that supreme personality is Krishna, or God has a supreme personality. Why do I say supreme? Because God's supreme. He's supreme to all of us. He's supreme. He's the supreme entity. He has personality, so we call him the supreme personality of Godhead. And I know with a lot of people from time to time, they feel a little uncomfortable if you let God have a personality. I mean, this is like, oi, what am I doing here? What if that all-powerful, all-omniscient thing can think? You know, isn't it more comfortable to just think of the all-powerful as the universe or something, or bright light or something else? That's more comfortable, isn't it? Because that all-powerful, all-omniscient thing, once it thinks and can communicate with me, it may ask me to do something that I don't want to do. So therefore, it's maybe better if maybe we just stay with source. Source isn't going to ask me to do anything. Why? Source just keeps giving me stuff every day. Talking to give me bread, give me this, give me that, give me money. See, give me all kinds of enjoyment, my dear source. I don't need to see your face. I don't need to look you in the eye. I don't need to embrace you or kiss you. You just give me stuff. That's what you're here for. That doesn't sound very loving, does it? If you can't love the supreme source of love, then who can you love? Who else is worthy of your love more than Krishna, more than God, the source of love? Huh? If you love him, you can love everybody. So, yeah.
Maharaj, you're speaking of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, "Always think of me, have my devotee worship me." And you mentioned that's very difficult. But you can unpack the process of how we're always thinking of Krishna. How do we always think of Krishna? What's the best way to always think of Krishna?
We've got to learn. We've got to learn about Krishna. We don't think of things that we don't know anything about. You know? We may think that or recognize that they exist, even though we know nothing about them. So we need to learn. What is this Krishna? What is he all about? What is his person? Say supreme personality of Godhead. What is this personality? In other words, we kind of like to meet the guy. Let me check him out. Let me see. What is he all about? So I've got to get to know him. So I have to read. I have to talk with people who have read, who understand, not people who speculate. You do yourself a huge favor. When you're around someone and you believe that they're speculating, walk away. Or just say, I'm sorry, but I prefer not to speculate. They're going to say, huh? What everybody does. Nobody really knows. Maybe you don't. Just because many people are in ignorance doesn't mean that everybody's in ignorance. Jew is, I don't know nothing about God. You don't know nothing about God, so nobody does. Oh, it doesn't make any sense. There are people who understand God. Some people may say, you can't understand God. In the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the very first verse, he says, yes, you can fully understand me. And he wants you to. See, he wants you to. He wants all of you. He wants all of your thoughts. He wants you to think of him always. So let's start doing things as an offering to him. When you're brushing your teeth, do that as an offering. You can do that. This isn't your body. This is on loan from him. I'm taking care of it, Krishna. You see? When you go to work, do that as an offering to Krishna. Do what you do as an offering to Krishna. And in time, with that and reading and associating with like-minded people that are trying to find him, you'll start to remember him. You'll think of him all the time. It's not a mission impossible. It's a mission doable. So you've all started off on the process. You've had this rip-roaring nice bhajan that we were listening to. So keep that tune going in your mind. Keep thinking, my dear Lord, I want to meet you, I want to be with you, and I want to serve you. Keep chanting Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.